you really do get what you pay for in shocks. The entry-level shocks, they have a couple of drawbacks. One, they're sort of generically engineered. They don't really have specific valving for your application. They're not rebuildable, and they generally have a relatively short lifespan. So in a very short time period, you're going to replace those with something different. If you spend a little more up front, they're going to last you longer. In the long run, you'll spend the same amount of money, but you're going to have less issues. The other part of that is a higher-end shock is rebuildable. Not all shocks can be rebuilt, but some shocks can. And it's more cost-effective to rebuild those than it is to replace them. A good example of that is this Fox shock right here. You can see the internals in here, how the shock works, the piston and the internal floating piston in the reservoir. We'll go into more of that later. But these parts can be accessed. We can disassemble this whole thing. We replace the internals like the wear bands. These wear bands ride right here on the piston. Of course, all of the O-rings that are in there, and then the O-rings on the IFP, which is this little guy that floats around inside. Another part of that is some of the shocks have Schraders. Some of them have what they call a pill. The pills are notoriously prone for leaking. They're also harder to charge. So when we do a rebuild, we change them all over to this Schrader if they don't have them from the factory. On this Fox shock, you can see right here, there's a Schrader on the bottom where you charge it. Some of the shocks don't have that. So we make sure that any of the shocks that we can apply that to, we get those. It makes it much easier to service the shock in the future. Along with rebuilding, some of the important things are not necessarily that you're going to run into this on your shock if you're timely about taking care of them, but if the shock's allowed to go too long before it's rebuilt, you can see here this shock ran low on oil, and because it did, it started to erode the actual surface inside the shock and score the surface. So most shocks, they don't really go through their entire travel every time you drive. They mostly ride within the same couple of inches, and that's where this rides. This one rode in this little short range. So this shock could not be rebuilt because the internal damage was too much. So in that case, it's better to replace the shock. But in most cases, this is an extreme case, but in most cases, you can rebuild the shock for less money than what a new shock costs. Some of the brands we like to partner with are Fox shocks. Fox has been in the industry for a long time. They were one of the innovators in the custom shock industry. There's also King. King's also been in the industry for a long time. They both make really high-end quality shocks. They can do custom things to the shocks. Then there's Arizona Desert Shocks, or ADS. Those guys do great work over there. We like to partner with them as well. Those are all good brands. There's plenty of others out there that are good quality, that are more on the production level. It just depends on what you're after and what your budget is. Whatever your budget, we're ready to help you. Just give us a call or reach out to us online or shoot us an email, and we'll help you out. If you found this content helpful today, give us a like and a subscribe. And if you're ready to make some modifications to your vehicle and upgrade your shocks, give us a shout. Either give us a call, an email, or reach out to us on social media.